Hey, everybody. GameHounds Podcast. Nick is here. You can hear him in the background, but we've been faffing around a bit. He's dealing with cats and diapers and
Okay, they're just playing around, but I'm paranoid that like they're just gonna knock something over. They knocked a lamp over the other day.
oh, yeah, well,
So
cats will do that.
because Caitlin's in Modesto with the dogs, and so the cats have free run of the house,
Oh, the
and they're
cats are
getting
going nuts and it's all on you.
they're getting
Okay.
real full of themselves. They're
Got
like,
it.
"Oh, we got everything. Yeah, man. Let's run. Woo!"
So yeah, I was just
Cod
talking
liver
about
oil.
cod liver oil. My brother
Yeah.
turned me on to this shit right here.
Okay.
For not only for myself, for his dogs. He says he feels amazing, which we were just talking about how I've got such dry skin,
Mm-hmm.
like crazy dry skin. And he's kind of like me, not as bad, but he's like, oh yeah, it definitely sorts out dry skin. But more important is that my dog, who fucking hates everything, the dog will not eat food. The dog has gone 2 days without eating because he's decided he
Really?
just didn't feel like eating today. And and I've put wet dog food on it. I have put people food on it. I have bottles of gravy that I put on it trying to get him to eat some food, and he won't do it. He just
Huh.
gets it in his mind that it's like, I'm not going to do food. And this stuff, he'll eat it straight right out of the
What kind of
jar.
food is
I have tried
like?
everything. I have tried expensive. I have tried ones that cost me $120 a bag. I have
Damn.
tried the ones that are supposed to be. I hate doing grain free because grain free's got issues with with their hearts. But I have tried anything. I've tried specialty food. The thing I won't do is I won't put him on not dry food. That's not going to happen. And I
Oh, what
know
food?
he's right. Wet food only diet.
Hmm.
Terrible for their teeth. Expensive, but mostly it's not a good option for long term care. I mean, you want to have that in reserve for when they're sick, when they really don't
Hmm.
feel like eating. So you don't want to start a war that you can't win when it comes to finicky dogs eating. But oh man, this stuff, he
So it has nothing to
freaking
do with the
loves this
kind of
stuff.
food. It's just like he'll just stop eating.
He just decides that he's traumatized this today and he'll be traumatized again tomorrow sometimes. They just he's hungry. He wants to eat. The bowl's right in front of him. And he stands there and he looks at it and just stares at it. And eventually goes away. I think he was attacked when he had like by his former owners. Either they used food to lure him in and then would traumatize him or torture him or hurt him, or there were he
Mm,
was with other dogs and was attacked whenever he ate. So, like, you cannot feed him in a bowl where it belongs over his eyes. It has to be a bowl that's no higher than his nose, because he's got to see all the way around him, and you can't feed him in an open space. He likes to be fed. I mean, I don't know if you could see it right, or is it right there? That's his food bowl. He has to be fed under the dining room table,
hmm.
covered, so
Yeah, it's like a shield.
things can't get to him.
Hmm.
So it's not that he's got food trauma that pre-exists, and no matter what I've done, I can't get rid of it. He's also a little touched in the head. Let's just say
Hmm.
that he ain't too bright. I think he's got a little something going on. So he's a little spectrumy. He'll when he's in his things, or something reminded him at some point, he just stares at his food and kind of sits there and rocks like Rain Man, and then eventually goes away. And then you've got to get the love of the food to be exceed the
Like the
the
pain of
trauma.
hunger.
The trauma. You got this trauma level that is keeping him from eating, and you got to give him something that is so delicious that he's willing to forego the trauma to get to this stuff.
Yeah.
That right there. That stuff right there.
That powerful.
That powerful. I haven't had any. I'm going to have some. I mean, maybe I'll do it in the show. Would you guys like to see me drink cod liver oil?
Straight from the bottle. Just take
Sure,
like
why
a
not?
shot.
Well, I mean, I could give you a shot glass. How much are you supposed to take? 1 teaspoon.
That's less than a shot.
Yeah, 1 to 3 times daily, preferably with meals.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Oh, yeah, it smells like a fish processing plant. Not bad. I mean, not super strong, but it definitely feels like, like that smell on your dad when he came back from fishing?
My dad never went fishing.
Have you ever gone fishing?
Have I gone fishing? No, I haven't.
Next crab season, you and I have to go on a crab boat. Do you like crab?
Yeah, I like crab. It's okay.
Do you like fish?
Yeah, I like fish.
You walk away with so much crab and so much fish you can't possibly eat it all. Yeah, we're gonna go crab boating next season, which would be the end of the year, Christmas time. Okay.
Okay, I could do that.
It's super early.
Okay, I don't know if I could do that.
Oh, it is 6. You have to be on the boat at 5:30 a.m. in Emeryville.
Oh, at that point, I'm just not going to bed.
Yeah, you are, because it's a long day.
I had a hard enough time getting up at 9:30.
All right, so in the chat room we have Barbara Zelikman, winner of the chat room. Congratulations, Andre. Yeah, we're on YouTube. Barbara was talking on YouTube. Okay.
He says, now it took a while to update.
Oh, okay, good. Bitters Plus is there. Eric Baker. Hey, you doing, Eric Baker?
Hey, Bitters Plus bought my book. Or the anthology.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I meant to.
That's fine. I have another announcement about something like that later that I'll talk.
Really?
Yeah.
When
we start.
Woke up this morning with an idea. Sometimes I'll do that where you wake up halfway, like before your alarm turns on.
Mm-hmm.
So then you just kind of start thinking about something. You're half awake, half asleep. And I came up with a story for Grandpa's hidden chest.
Cool.
Yeah. I am going to put it together hopefully today. Because, I mean, it's like I was going through the process of writing it in my semi-dream.
Mm-hmm.
And Gully's going to love it. Gully's going to love it.
Cool.
It's written for Gully. So, no Gully today. I have not heard from him. He has not said anything. Gully, ? Are you in? ? But yeah, I'm going to write it today and send it this evening. And we'll talk about it after the show because I don't want to wreck the story for anybody else. But I'm going to talk about it with you a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'm going to write it today. Sue Bolton in the chat room says our town has a crab pier that everyone uses. Yeah, we've got piers around here, but the best way to do it, it's a little expensive, but you get on a party boat, crab party boat, and pretty much the skipper and the mates take you out past the Golden Gate out into the ocean. They've got crab pots that have been sitting there overnight. So they're full of crab. And then they set up all of your lines. And, you essentially, you drink coffee and you eat, and you bring your breakfast. and you eat on the way out and you wake yourself up, and then they show up, pull up the crab pots, and it's just like boosh, boosh, just so many crabs you have no idea what you're doing. I mean, it's like it's crazy how many crabs they'll and then they dump that into the hold, and then they uh um run out to they use the fish finder to find big schools of cod, and then everybody stands on the side of the boat and then just pulls up cod, drops the line, pulls up a cod, drops the line, pulls up a cod, drops the line. And you do that as fast as you possibly can for like 45 minutes or an hour. And then all those cod go into a bag. You've got a burlap bag, so you keep the cod with you. And then while they're going back, you're drinking beers, and the mates will take your bag and cut the fish all down and put it into bags for you, so it's completely already processed by the time you get back. So you end up with a bag of processed fish ready to go, and 12 crab, 15 crab. I forget what the limit is, but the crab limit. And then when you get off the boat, there's a guy with a big pot. And he just takes your burlap bag full of crab and dunks it in a pot and cooks it. And then you take that burlap
Right
bag
there.
full of right there in the bag. And you take that burlap bag full of cooked crab, and you take that huge bag full of already processed fish, and you go home. And if you're smart, you have dinner waiting for you. Somebody at home making the bread, getting the French bread out, doing the butter, setting everything up so that you can eat. Or if you don't have that already waiting, then you have somebody at home with the vacuum packer, and you just vacuum pack everything, and it lasts for months. I think I still have a little bit of fish from that in December. AC Wraith says Alaskan king crab party boat is no fun. Oh, sorry, Siri. No. Not Siri. Alaskan king. Alaskan king crab party. Alaskan king crab party boat, no fun eating. By the way, your Nick.
My ear?
Your microphone. Is no fun eating without your life on the line. The dog knows. Yeah. All right. Shall we start the show?
Yeah.
And I do have. Go ahead and talk real quick.
That's
it. Good.
Okay.
Good.
Yep. I'm good at filling dead air.
Yeah. We definitely have a signal, so we will have a podcast today, and I will have to apologize to the podcast listeners because they haven't had a show in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. All right, so we are starting that. I've got it all ready to go. I just need to drop in the logo. And there's the logo. All right, mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 541. We are recording on April 19th. That's a Sunday, 2020. I'm Edie Sellers. I have Nick DiNicola. And yes, I think I really do have Nick DiNicola this week, right, Nick? Really?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oh God, don't do that. Shit. So last week, if you were a little waiting for the podcast last week, and there was no podcast and there was no podcast the week before, I am sorry. I am so sorry. This is what happened. So, you didn't hear the story last week. Everybody in the YouTube chat, you already heard it, but our YouTube stream has been up, but our podcast stream has not. And here's the story. Okay, so last thing you heard from me was no show next week. The reason being was I you I've talked about it before. I got a job right before the COVID-19 public health order came in place and everything was shut down. I was supposed to start this job at the end of March, like the third, right before the end of March. Well, that was part of the shut-in order. So I was delayed. At that point, the shut-in order was supposed to end April 4th or April 7th. My first day was going to be April 8th. It was like, fine, great, no problem. So we delayed it the first time until the end of the shut-in order. Then the shut-in order got extended until May 4th, May 5th, May 3rd, something like that. I forget when it is, but it's in the beginning of May. And the company said, you know what? We don't want to keep you being pushed and pushed and pushed for your start date. So why don't we just start you from home? And I was like, sure. I mean, I could do that. Can you do that? And they're like, we're not sure. But you're going to be seeing a laptop show up in your mail. There's going to be a bunch of stuff. It's like, cool, no problem. Excellent. So I waited and I waited and I waited and nothing came in the mail. There was no laptop. So I was like, okay, they're not able to get it. I'm not going to move the podcast until I know that I have to move the podcast. Well, the Monday before the Wednesday show that we were supposed to do, the laptop shows up in the mail, and I realize, oh, they really, really are serious about this. They're going to start me on Wednesday. And it was Wednesday morning that they were starting. So I couldn't do a show Wednesday morning. So last minute cancellation of the show. Now, last week, at that point, we've changed to a Sunday schedule. So Nick and I are recording on Sundays. Goalie will show up when he can, if he can. But the Sunday schedule started that week. So we missed the Wednesday, and then we had to wait until Sunday, which was last Sunday. When I did this show, you know, we do the split streams. We've got the audio and video stream and just the audio stream for the podcast. When I started the podcast stream, there was some problem of the podcasting app not talking to the video app, which is where its source of audio is coming. And in order to fix it, I would have had to shut down the entire show on both streams and then reload that show back in. And even then, I wasn't even sure that would do it. So rather than cut off the video stream, I just cut the audio stream, deleted the show because I had me talking, but not Nick. And that was no fun to listen to. So I wasn't able to pull the audio off of the YouTube video in order to make a podcast. So you just went without that show. It's a bit of a lost show. If you ever feel like really like listening to it, you could always go to our YouTube channel. It is GameHounds Vids, VIDS on GameHounds. If you're really, or on YouTube, if you're really into Facebook, you can watch it on the Facebook stream, which is the GameHounds on Facebook. But that's what happened for the last 2 weeks. I am so sorry, podcast listeners, for that. And I'm really actually glad. Thank you to all our patrons and our Patreoners who have been able to subsidize our video stream, because were it not for that, well, I mean, technically, were it not for that, we wouldn't have had a problem. But barring that, if were it not for the fact that we had that stream, we wouldn't have audio for that show at all if there had been a technical difficulty. So it's actually created a nice redundancy that we could take advantage of. So thanks, everybody. I apologize for the cat. The diaper cat is
Yes,
deciding to.
that's what I had to. No, that's coffee. That's just gonna make you shit. Diaper cat was pooping and had to go take the diaper off.
Right?
Thankfully, he digs a hole before he does his business, so it's like an early warning.
Good. Good.
Yeah, so I saved the diaper.
So yeah, that's the story of what happened for the last few weeks. If you were a podcast listener, I apologize that happened. Hopefully it won't happen again, but you do have a lost episode. If you'll notice the numbering convention, your episode is lost. Sorry. I could go back and pull that audio off and then recut it, but I would have to recut it almost completely because I have to add
at that point,
intro music and everything else. It's just
at that point, it'd be easier just like take the YouTube video and rip the audio and just upload that.
Well, you can't just upload that because the YouTube audio first has to be cut.
Why?
Because remember, it's you have an audio beginning and end, and I'd also have to lay in the music.
Yeah, if you wanted to go to all that work, you could just record an intro that's like, "Hey, technical difficulties. This happened. I ripped the audio. Too much work to do the other stuff."
Yeah, you're right. I could. But I'd have to find time to do it in my incredibly crazy life, which is now, by the way, I don't know if you can see, that's my workstation right back, right there. That's my workstation right there. That's where I spend 8 hours of my day. And then I run over here at 5 o'clock every day and do a radio show, a live podcast, internet radio show for the neighborhood. I am now on day 30. Today
That's
is
impressive.
going to be
keeping up a daily podcast for 30 days?
30 days, 33 days. Today is going to be day 34. Every single day. Information, news, music. Gamer77 has been joining in on a regular basis, even though I'm sure he finds it very boring because it's all about restaurants and things that are open and people that need stuff in my neighborhood of Point Richmond. But yeah. Got a newspaper article written about me.
Oh, cool.
People are like, I love this. Can you make sure you keep it up after you go back to work? It's like, no. Not happening. I love you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Not unless you get a Patreon for that too.
Yeah. Well, I do. I make more money on that show than I do on this show. I have like 10 Patreons and they're like paying $40 a month. No, it's not.
Just keep making them. Just keep making them. One of them will hit.
The thing is that I'm not making it. I am taking that money because of what it is. It's
going into the project, which is
it's going into point. Right, and I have very high costs because I play music, so I have to buy music every single day. Oh my god, I've spent so much money on Amazon, on Apple Music. So much money on Apple Music. But I have to take that money, and whenever I don't end up spending, I am donating to our local community emergency response team, which is I'm a member of, and I said I would do. So it's not, I'm not getting any of that money. But the neighborhood is definitely open, and they're like, oh, please keep going. I'm like, no. There are so many reasons why I can't do it. And really, it's just a matter, I'll talk to you about it afterwards. I don't want to talk about it now, but there's a lot of reasons why this can't go on. Why you can't have a music and news radio show daily, no matter what, unless you don't have a job.
Yeah, unless you...
Oop, just lost your audio. Yeah. Are you fucking around with me again, Nick? Are you swear you're not fucking around with me? See, this is what crying wolf gets you. No, your audio really has gone away. I cannot hear you. You are dead to me. No audio. Still no audio. You're doing something about going up, but no, it's not me. It's not me. You had a little, like, your audio went.
Okay.
Ring. There we go. You're back.
Okay. Yeah, I had a warning in the upper corner of my screen that says lost connection to something.
That's what it sounded like. I was about to tell you that. That's what I was explaining. So,
I could hear you. Like I could hear you
oh,
through
I
all of
know.
it.
I know.
Okay.
I know you could. That's why I was making fun of you for crying wolf because you got your get
I should
back.
know better than to joke about poor internet.
Yeah, instant karma does not mess around, and the
I don't
internet
know.
gods
Actually,
are always listening.
that just makes it better.
So, what you playing, dude?
I've continued playing The Surge 2, and I've actually
Mm-hmm.
almost finished it. I think I'm on the last boss, which is kind of an annoying guy. He really angered me last night. But I want to try to finish it because I want to get into Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what
Very
I've really been getting into, way more than I thought I would, is that mobile Final Fantasy game. The free-to-play War of the Visions, colon, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
fucking that for a mobile game. I mean, that's what's really funny about it.
Well, I mean, the naming convention, it fits with all the other Final Fantasy naming things out there. It's just absurd. But so it is a mobile game, and it's got all that, like I said before, it's got all that bullshit around, you know, it's excessively difficult to do basic things because there's so many systems in place, and there's all these sort of like limits on the systems to get you to coming back day to day. But actually, it's not so much that there's limits on the systems as it is that you get a lot of rewards for coming in daily. You get a lot of, in-game currency that you can use to buy units and that sort of thing. But what I've realized as I've been getting into it is that, so for example, to level up a unit, there are like 4 different systems involved in that. You
Mm-hmm.
can enhance a unit, which is just give them experience and they level up. You can get experience from playing battles, or you can get experience from experience cubes. That's a different game.
Oh, is it?
I think that might be Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. You want War of the Visions colon Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You've got to be joking.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
They've just lost their minds. Oh my god. Oh, Square Enix really needs to rein this
for
back
for a
in.
while it made looking up like tips and stuff difficult because I type into Google, Brave Exvius, blah blah blah, and then I eventually realized, shit, I should type in War of the Visions, blah blah blah. um, but so, for example, like all the systems that you can get experience from fighting, you can get experience from experience cubes, and then you can do specific fights daily that give you experience cubes, like a whole bunch of them. So there's, multiple systems in place, and that's just for getting the characters level up. You can also awaken a unit, which raises the level cap, which is good because that gives you more levels to improve your units. Or you could limit break a unit, which is just another method for raising the level cap. And then finally, they all have different jobs, different job classes. And you have to collect various items that are increasing in rarity as the jobs get higher and higher. So there's all these systems on top of systems on top of systems for just the simple process of like leveling up. And as I was playing it, I realized like I'm enjoying this because this is really satisfying my urge for JRPG. Because all JRPGs have that. All JRPGs are like these overly systematized combat systems. And that's part of the fun of it, is taking the time to like learn the ins and outs of this new overly complicated leveling and combat system. Like that's kind of the appeal of any JRPG. And so getting into this is like, oh yeah, this is kind of satisfying that JRPG urge. And thankfully, I haven't really it's thrown enough currency at me that I've never felt the need to spend any actual money on it because it's free to play.
Right.
So that's
See, that's
beneficial too.
I did my free to play thing with the uh um God dang it. What's the name of that move? The show with the
Oh, Game of
dragons.
Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, the Game of Thrones thing. That was
So
that was
that's
I'm thinking that might have also been illegal. That was a little too much of the complete gotcha games, the ones that are genuinely
yeah.
gambling.
And so that's why I never got into Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem mobile game, is because it was one of those games where in the beginning they would shower you with currency, and so you could play that gotcha system a couple times. But then after that intro, that process really dried up, and the grind took over. In this game, I feel like it throws enough of the currency at me daily, like, doing the daily quests and all that stuff. It throws enough of that currency at me that I can actually keep playing that gotcha, system over and over and over again without having to invest real money. And that's a good feeling. Like even the other day, I did it and I got like a super special unit out of it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I haven't spent any money. Um, so I think it's good in that regard. It's also good just because the basic tactics game at the core of it is really fun. Um, like I said, all those different systems, like it has uh, various types of quests you can do to gain those items. Like, oh, do you want to gain the items needed to improve a job? We have a special battle for that. Do you want to gain experience? We have a special battle for that. You want to gain job points? We have a special battle for that. And all of those increase in difficulty from like easy, medium, hard to super hard. And some of those fights are really difficult. Um, the story has remained like fairly easy as I go through it, but that's also because I'm over leveling my characters doing the other stuff. But like some of the events, like they have, like any of these games, they have special events going on, but that includes like kind of story quests that just tell a side story of like these two women warriors who join this army because they want to marry one of the princes, and so the army is like the only way they can get close to them. And so I've been playing through those missions, and they started easy, and then as it got higher and higher, I'm like, this is actually really difficult. This is really challenging me, and that's fun. Like it's fun. Usually with these type of games, it feels like it's either too easy or too difficult, and there's like no actual in between. But this one actually strikes a good in between where I know at this point I can look at what the recommended level is and know, okay, this is going to be a real challenge. And, you know, I need to bring in my good units. I can't throw in the B team. I need my A team for this. I can't just set it on auto mode and let them grind it out. I need to pay attention. I need to like raise their stats. I need to think about positioning and all that stuff. And so it's just a good tactics game at the core of it. And so that's what's also kept me playing through it, is because I kind of want, it satisfies that tactical turn-based strategy urge. Yeah. The story is weird so far. Like there is a story mission. I kind of like the structure of it, where it's just like, hey, this lady is going to a foreign country to get married, and then gets attacked by bandits and kind of gets waylaid in this other country. And then the original country she was going to is like, hey, motherfucker, you kidnapped her. We're going to war with you. And it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting like fantasy political story, but it's gotten really complicated with like shifting alliances where at a certain point I'm looking at this story happening going like, I don't know why this person from the foreign country is allied with this other person. Why aren't they fighting each other? Why aren't they? I'm not sure what the plans are for this. And so in that way, it's also a good JRPG, with an overly complicated, overly written story. So yeah, it's kind of satisfying. While I finish the Surge and wait to get into Final Fantasy VII. This is definitely scratching that Final Fantasy JRPG itch that I have been having for a while. I don't know how long I'll keep with it, um, but it's definitely keeping me busy during
Mm-hmm.
quarantine and pandemic when I can have access to Wi-Fi, and so all of its connecting and all of its downloading data doesn't matter.
Right. So, yeah. Let's see. What have I been playing? I have been doing Death Stranding,
Yeah, okay.
which is good. I mean, it's Death Stranding. It's excellent. It's a
I don't know. There's very divisive on it. People hate it. People love it.
I had learned an important life skill yesterday is that you cannot ride your trike through BT zone just by balls out, just running through
Yeah,
it.
you can. I've done that before. You just have to get lucky and avoid them.
Yes, yes, I have. I did manage to run through a BT area because I had gone there, looked, knew where they were, sort of, and was just like, I know there's one over there, and I
Mhm.
didn't, and it didn't hit any rocks to slow me down. But then I tried it again when it's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna run. It's a road, right? They're not gonna throw the BTs in the middle of the road. Yeah, they are.
Not if it's a road you construct.
Not if it's a road I construct, but it was a road that
Mhm.
was. I mean, I'm still in the first zone. I haven't even gotten to Knot
Oh,
City
yeah.
yet.
You haven't even got. Okay, never mind. Fuck that. Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, and on top of that, I'm. It's uh, it's hitting me what a slow game this is, and it's almost a little infuriatingly slow. And it's like because of the BTs, and because everything have to like you can't just go to XYZ place, or even go where you've been before.
Yeah, you've
You
got to
you
travel there. You have to walk there.
It's not just that you have to walk there, is it you've got tons of there A, roads not necessarily existing. B, you've got rocks and bullshit and mountains and crazy stuff all over the place. And then where there's open fields, there's BTs. And it's like, God damn it. I just fucking, it took me all day to get to like the next place that was actually backwards because I needed to do a couple of delivery missions before I go to my next big thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the pace
it's
of the game.
frustrating.
I mean, and that's one of the things that you'll either click with or it won't. Because
Does it get better? I mean, as you progress and you start getting the chiral network up, does it actually speed up a little bit so it gets a little bit easier to
I think it
at least go
definitely
backwards and make your deliveries to places you've already been?
it does as long as you put in the infrastructure to do that. Like I said, you can start building roads, and those make it incredibly like that was one of the big things that drew me in is fighting tooth and nail to get to a location, then getting there, connecting to the network, which sometimes introduces roads, which will oftentimes introduce one of the most common things that people put up that I found how was helpful was the
Bridges?
uh, bridges, yes, but also shelters from
Oh, see,
timefall.
I'm nowhere near getting. I mean, I got bridges and I constructed my first bridge and it was
Yeah,
incredibly
yeah.
helpful.
Yes, and
Thank
bridges,
God
the
for that.
bridges are super helpful, and they continue to be throughout.
Yep.
Um, After that first area, I never built a bridge because I
Oh,
never had to. Every time I connected to a network, someone had already built a bridge in the most
oh. See, now
useful
when
area.
I started, no one had constructed anything in the opening area, and then I went in yesterday and somebody had
Mhm.
constructed a bridge, which was very helpful. But it dumped me out into a big field of BTs, and it's like, well, I
But I
can't
mean,
really use this bridge.
even then, uh, even if you build the bridges, also I would say invest in zip lines. I built a lot of roads in the beginning, and the roads are cool because they can let you carry tons of stuff. But zip lines is what if you stay with this game for a long time, you will
Mm-hmm.
do the inevitable process of building a lot of roads to then building a lot of zip lines. Because once you get up into the mountains, zip lines are where it's at.
Okay.
Um, but like at the core of it,
So
still,
I'm still early enough that I haven't gotten a lot of the
you're in the intro
techniques.
area.
I'm in the intro area. I have
You're in the
not yet
tutorial.
I've not yet even gotten to Knot City. And it seems kind of counterintuitive that the beginning of the show, the cat okay?
Yes,
The beginning of
he's
the show,
comfortable.
the beginning of the game would be actually be more difficult than the middle of the game. And
Well,
right now it's like, oh,
see,
fucking everything is just, it's impossibly difficult.
see, I think that's good preparation because that's always what it's like in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you need to get a place onto the chiral network before you can get those online structures. So that means you always have to go someplace manually first before you can get any of the benefits of the online structures. So
Mm-hmm.
you will always have to, walk or drive or fight your way through a BT area on foot slowly to get to a place to bring it up. And even then, sometimes you'll get there and they'll be like, nah, I don't want to join the network now. Thanks for the package, but fuck off. And you'll be like, you little son of an asshole. Do you know how hard it was to get up this mountain to you, you fucker? Um, and you'll have to do that again. So, like I said, that is the pace of the game. It is a slow paced game. It is the world's most expensive and elaborate walking simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is what it is. It is all about walking. And I found that very peaceful and relaxing and cathartic and just the
See,
act the
I'm
act
used to
of
walking
walking.
thing. I mean, you know me. I have a huge capacity for very slow walking simulators. What was that game that you hated that was so
Everybody's gone
slow?
to the rapture. Yeah,
Everybody's gone to the right.
fuck
I
that
love
game.
that game.
That game's awful.
I know you hated it. I
Not
actually
just
really liked it.
everything
I
about that
played a
game.
lot of it, but the thing is that
Everything.
there was nothing trying to kill you. You were just trying to find things.
Yeah, that's what makes the walking exciting.
Right.
It's a walking simulator with the risk of death.
Yeah, I'm just have to keep pressing through until I get a few extra things to be able to make my life a little bit easier. I mean, I just got the grenades, the hematic grenades.
Hmm.
Not the
Yeah, the
I call them the hepatic grenades, and it's like, oh no, you're not throwing your kidneys, you're throwing your blood.
yeah,
So the
and
hematic
yeah,
grenades,
that's
and now this is the first time I've seen these floating things behind you to carry your stuff.
oh yeah,
Those freaking look great. I can't wait until that happens.
those are useful. Eventually, you can get rigs. Like if you look closely at him, you can see that he's got like a metal rig on, and
Uh-huh.
that will increase your carrying capacity and make you more stable. So that instead, right now where you are, if you run over these rocks, you'll probably get
Yeah,
tripped up.
I'm
Now
falling all over the place.
he can just bolt full speed over them because of the rig.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm like a drunk toddler out there right now.
yeah.
Uh,
So you get a whole bunch of things to make your life easier, but and this is worth saying, a lot of those things, the story will unlock like level 1 of them, but if you want like level 3 or something, you have to do those delivery missions for people because a lot of the higher level versions are locked behind 5-star ratings from people.
okay.
So like you've got to do deliveries and get it up to 5 stars, and they'll be like, "Oh, thanks, Sam. Here's a rig level 2 or something like that."
Okay. All right.
And I actually got 5 stars on so many of the people. I did so many deliveries.
Well, that's good to know
So,
because I will have to do that.
yeah, and yeah, definitely the hematic grenades. Have you seen those little slug things?
Oh, the
Little
yes.
pick those up whenever you see one. Pick them up.
Yeah, I have been.
Okay, because those you can use to refill your blood. And so if you throw a bunch of grenades and your blood gets low,
Oh, I've got so many blood bags on me. I've got like 7 blood bags.
okay.
Because I wanted to be able to just shoot those grenades out like a Gatling gun, like poof, 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 poof,
Yeah.
poof, poof. Because fuck BTs. Fuck
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah.
It's like the
So
fuck the wind farm. I'm never going out. Somebody had a delivery mission to the wind farm. I'm like, nope,
I
not
don't
going there
think
again. No, no,
I
no.
think I might have gone there a couple times and then decided not to.
Yeah, no, that place is, that no, that's not happening again. Especially now that I have a trike. There's no way I'm losing that trike.
Oh, that's fine. Fuck your trike. You'll get plenty of those. So one
Yeah,
of
but
the
I really need it because I don't have a lot of carrying capacity, and that trike doubled my carrying capacity.
one of the things you'll also get later on is the ability to use other people's vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So there are times when you'll be driving by and just like, oh, there's a trike in the road. Oh, there's a van just stuck on a rock because someone abandoned it. Or what I've found a lot of times is I will pull up to a place for delivery and there are like two other trucks there.
Corey Wallace says, "Does the road ever complete? I want it to complete as hard as I try to rebuild it."
You can complete it. Like I stopped building roads in the mountains because it just got prohibitively expensive and kind of unnecessary. But like I imagine so. I see no reason why it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I did notice there is one thing. Like I will try to ease your fear of this. If you build a road,
Yeah.
don't worry about it degrading. Like it does degrade. You can then look at it on your map and be like, I don't know, condition, and it'll be like 99%, 98%. Don't worry about that. Like I've played this game for probably 80 hours at this point, and I never had a road degrade to the point where it couldn't be used.
Okay.
Even the road that I built in a place that is permanently under the timefall, that is permanently in the shit, at most it got to like the high 70s. And then I beat the game, and I'm like, well, there's no need for me to go back here. So if you build the road, don't worry about it like falling into disrepair. Like that's just chill out with that. Even the zip lines. I built the zip line in a snowy mountain, and the snow is like more extreme timefall, right? It's supposed to degrade things even more. I built so many zip lines in the snow, none of them disappeared. None of them fell into disrepair.
Yeah.
Like so once you build something, it has a meter that will say that its condition is degrading, and some of the things like ladders or the ropes that you stick into the ground, those will degrade over time. But any of the big stuff, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It'll stay there forever.
Andy Shao says, "Edie, are you going to play Persona 5 Royale?" Maybe. I don't know. Why aren't you playing Persona 5? You never played Persona
Me?
5, did you?
No, those games scare the fuck out of me.
What?
Those things are like hundreds of hours long.
It's really good. If you talking about your JRPG itch,
yes,
you do need to do Persona.
But I like my itches small. I don't want a giant rash on my arm. Like Final Fantasy VII, I've heard that game is like maybe 50 hours. Okay, 50 hours I can do. Any of the Souls games, at most, it's like 60 to 80 hours. Like that is a long game to me. If I invest 60, that's all. If you get up into the hundreds, I just I can't do that investment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you should try.
They sound neat, but
it's like Skyrim. It is 100 hours that you really don't mind putting.
I didn't even put 100 hours into Skyrim.
Right. Well, if you didn't put 100 hours into Skyrim,
although
you won't put
I
100
guess
hours into this.
I did put 130 hours into Kingdom Come, which I did not realize.
Right. That's the thing. This game, you don't realize it. You do not realize how many hours you put in, and that's the thing.
But see, I've still got to beat Kingdom Come.
Right, and you walked away from it, and you're okay. And the same thing with Persona. You may not get to the end of the story, and that's fine.
Yeah, but also, like, isn't that a more story-driven game?
It's pretty story-driven. But it's no more story-driven than Kingdom Come.
Okay, because Kingdom Come had a bunch of like isolated quests, and I could do a quest and finish that. And it's like, okay, here, that's my story, and just had a lot of standalone quests.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that you would think that this is okay, but you wouldn't want to do Persona 5 because it's too slow.
I didn't say anything about slow. It's just a time investment.
Right, it's a time investment. It is. And I would
But even this game,
I would suggest you should make that time investment. It is well worth it, even if you walk away from the game. And if you don't walk away from the game, then you're still playing an excellent, excellent game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, maybe. Is it on sale? It's probably on sale in the spring sale.
I would get it. In fact,
we'll
Corey
see.
Wallace says, anyone buy anything good in the spring sale on PS4? I bought Felix the Reaper, which I recommend. Good puzzle game. What else did I buy? Let's see. And I bought 2 Point Hospital, a very good sim game, hospital sim game.
Oh, you got that on the PlayStation?
I did. Spring sale.
I thought that was a PC one.
No, it is a PC game. But I also got it on I bought it on PS4.
Okay.
It actually plays fine on PS4. It's a good simulator game that is very low mental investment. It's actually very funny, very well designed. The engineering is good in it. The game is solid. Highly recommend. Especially if you really, really like sim games.
I got one called, and I'm going to mispronounce it, called like AI, the Solminium Files or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Solminium.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that because that's the new game from the guy that did all the Zero Escape games, 999.
Uh-huh.
Remember, those were the visual novel puzzle games trilogy that I got into a while ago about people put into like an escape room death game situation that go fucking off the rails with time travel and conspiracy theories in a way that I super, super dig.
Yeah.
They're batshit crazy. Playing them literally feels like you are going mad because the vague connections it makes to various conspiracies and truths about the world and time travel and all that, like trying to connect those dots or at least acknowledging that the game will state these facts, and if you just go with it, it's just a surreal hallucinogenic type of experience. It's wonderful. I love them. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. Yes, Somnium Files. I have to defend myself briefly. Forget Your Life says, I'm worried about time and I want to play Final Fantasy VII. From what I understand, the Final Fantasy VII remake is significantly shorter than Persona 5. Final Fantasy VII is like a 40 to 50 hour game. Persona is up into the hundreds. So that's very, very different types of experiences. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into this crazy visual novel.
Yeah. That actually looks really cool. I could do that.
Mm-hmm. I highly recommend.
You got it on PS4?
Yeah. I highly recommend any of the on PlayStation. They're called the Nonary games.
Mm-hmm.
That'll give you the first and second. They're like I said, super compelling, super crazy. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I bought, and that's what I'm into.
Cool. Shall we hit news, Nick? Is it that time?
I guess.
All right. Then let's wait for it. Let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds News, the news, views, and commentary of the week in games with Gamer Edie and Nick DiNicola. And our first item is the Gamer77 says that it's very, where is it? And he says it's really weird listening to me being nice. He says it's weird seeing you be extra nice on the other show.
Wait, how are you being extra nice?
Because I'm talking to the neighborhood and I'm not saying fuck.
Oh.
And it's, information like, hey, this restaurant is open and they're doing takeout and this is their menu on Tuesday and you have to order it by then. And this is what's happening in the neighborhood. And don't worry, everyone will get through this together, that kind of stuff. So that
Just the super cheery positivity.
Super cheery positivity. And now you all know here that, yes, that is a part of me. I am super cheery positivity. But at the same time, there's the gamer part of me is really misanthropic and hates people. He's kind of an asshole. So, your first item, you got anything, Nick?
Yeah. There's an article on Kotaku from Jason Schreier about how the culture at Rockstar is kind of slowly starting to change.
Oh yeah, and there was a reply from them as well.
Oh, was there?
Yes, a reply from Randy Pitchford.
No, that's Gearbox.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which one are you talking about?
Rockstar.
Oh,
Red
Rockstar.
Dead Redemption, GTA.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I was mixing up my developers. Yes, there is another issue of Gearbox apparently not having paid.
Oh yeah,
their bonuses to their staff, and that's that's their culture of you work unusually low and then you get a bonus based on the sales. And the last two games have been very bad because they weren't very good games. Nobody made a lot of money. However, the what was it?
Borderlands 3.
Borderlands 2, people got massive bonuses, and that was quite some time ago. They actually bought houses with them, and I mean, it was a big thing. So Borderlands 2 has this huge bonus for everybody, and it was like, yeah, we love this. And then the next two games did not do well, so nobody got bonuses. And then Borderlands 3 comes out, and they're like, yes, it's popular. Here's our bonus. And then Randy Pitchford says, yeah, but it took a lot of money to make. So here's your bonus.
It wasn't just that it was a lot of money. It was also that, according to the deal with Take-Two, they had to pay off their debt to Take-Two before they would start seeing the profits.
Right.
Because Take-Two financed the game, so they had to pay that off before they started getting stuff in.
Right. So a lot of things had changed between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. And there was a big article about it from the same guy who did the
Jason Schreier?
Jason Schreier, right. Yeah. So Randy Pitchford went on to Twitter and said, hey, that's not the case. In fact, you're just hearing some tabloidy clickbait stuff and it's not necessarily real. I've got people that have printed that they love working for Gearbox. And I think his final line was, who are you going to believe, them or me? And everybody's like, you do realize that it was Jason Schreier, and who is a journalist of kind of well-known repute for doing really good journalism about exactly this, working conditions within developers. You do not, Randy Pitchford, want to put yourself up saying who you're going to believe, him or me, because anybody in the know is going to believe him, not you. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's still going on. The more that I am seeing about Gearbox, the more I'm realizing Gearbox is not... I've always given Randy Pitchford the benefit of the doubt. Him saying that made me realize I'm not going to start giving him the benefit of the doubt. There's been enough controversy around him of him screwing people over. And now when it starts to, he's screwing over his employees. Mm-hmm. That's starting to make me think very differently about Randy Pitchford. And I used to defend him against that Wade Callender thing. Obviously Wade Callender's an idiot and he's a dick and Randy Pitchford's a good guy. And not so much anymore. Anyway, you were talking about Rockstar.
Yeah. So this is more positive. Schreier reported that Rockstar has put in significant effort to change its culture in the wake of Red Dead Redemption and in the wake of his reporting about the crazy crunch on Red Dead Redemption. Specifically, they hope to improve the technology pipeline and better planning. One of the things that he mentioned specifically is that they want they want the next Grand Theft Auto game to start with a moderately sized release and then expand with regular content updates over time. So kind of like GTA Online, which makes sense because, Red Dead Redemption 2 was this kind of huge sprawling thing. So,
Yeah.
Their idea of, hey, maybe let's not do that this time. Also, one of the things that will help is
Yeah.
Dan Houser being gone, because his last minute rewrites and overhauls led to a lot of the overtime on Red
Yeah.
Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah. You can absolutely get that with somebody, especially with a writer, well, with very, very, very creative people who aren't very organized and are given the freedom to be able to make last minute changes. It's like the game is more important than your ideas. And anybody in the creative world understands that, yeah, there's always going to be things that you come up with afterwards that you wish that you'd had in. But there is a little bit of a diva culture. I think it's also in movies as well. There are some directors that I'm not going to name, but are pretty notorious, very big names, very notorious for making completely last minute changes, either so big that it fucks everybody in post-production, or so completely infinitesimal that no one will notice, but they insist on doing it at the last minute and fucks everybody in the post-production. And it's a mindset that that you and your ideas are more important than the hundreds or sometimes thousands of people downline from you and their lives. That they're there to serve you and your vision.
Yeah.
And that's that diva culture that is people that have that diva sense in their head. They can either be controlled by the process, by a understanding that you cannot do that, somebody to say no, which would be your executive producer, or they're given free reign because they're divas. And divas will always push the limit to try to be a diva. And if they're given permission, they will totally do that and keep pushing that limit until they get complete and utter control. And if with Dan Houser, because Dan Houser was Dan Houser, Rockstar gave him that, like, do what you need to do, Dan, because you're a genius, Dan. And
I mean,
Dan
he's also the
didn't
CEO.
care. Right. But he's the CEO. But at the same time, there is the publisher. There is Take Two. Take Two could look at them and say, Dan, no, you cannot change the story at the last minute because it's going to fuck the schedules. Sorry, Dan, the deadline is the deadline. There's always somebody that's above someone. There's always someone who's above someone. I shouldn't say always. Rarely is there a situation where there's not the case. And that, well, Dan Houser being gone is a good thing for Take. It's possibly bad as far as the quality of games, but it's a good thing for everybody working for him.
That's debatable. Listen, as someone who did not think Red Dead Redemption 2 was okay. It was okay.
I will give you this. It did feel like the creative was let wild with no editor. It did seem like a game where there was no one there to say no to. A bit like some of the later Star Wars. Like the reason why Star Wars episode 3, 4, and 5. No.
Yeah, those are the originals.
New Hope. Yeah, the original 3, 4, 5. There's a reason why those were really, really good is because there was somebody there to say no, George. And why 1, 2, and 3 were not nearly as good because there was no one there to say no, George.
I'm going to open a can of worms. Have you seen Rise of Skywalker?
I haven't seen anything since. What's the one where Kylo Ren kills Han Solo?
Spoiler. It's the culture knows that. It's like Darth Vader's your
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
That was
it's
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. That was the last Star Wars I've
The
seen.
second one, Last Jedi,
Mhm.
that's the best one. That just
Of
might
all,
be the
including.
I think that is the best Star Wars movie that they've ever made. I think that movie is fantastic because that movie is very much about like if Force Awakens was like asking how do we these new characters fit into this larger mythology, Last Jedi is very much about don't. Like you need to grow beyond the past and grow beyond what came before you. And there's a lot of that I think it's a really good message. It's so thematically rich. I loved it. A lot of people fucking hate it because it is kind of a shit on the mythology. But you should watch it because you then need to watch The Rise of Skywalker, which just might be the worst blockbuster since Batman v Superman.
Really? God.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Really? I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of time. Talk about time investment. That's a lot of time investment to lead up to an epically shitty movie.
Okay, Caitlin. Well, Caitlin, she watched The Witcher, and so she's now a fan of Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
She found out that he played Superman in the DC movies.
Right.
So she watched Man of Steel recently and was like, "Oh, this is good." And I've warned her that Batman v Superman is fucking awful. And I am so looking forward to watching it with her and just having her running commentary of why is this happening? Why is this happening? Because fuck, that movie's terrible.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Some movies are so bad you just have to see it to believe it.
Okay.
You have to see it to think somebody spent at least $200 million on this. Someone wrote that script.
It's like slowing down at a car accident is what you're saying?
It's what?
Like slowing down at a car accident with a Lamborghini?
Kind of, except it's like someone bought this Lamborghini and then crashed it on purpose. Well, someone bought this Lamborghini
and put a 7-year-old behind the wheel.
Yes, they bought it knowing it didn't have any brakes, and they're like, "It's fine. It'll be fine." Oh, it's so. I should see that movie again just for the Schadenfreude. Anyways, okay, that's me opening the fucking cultural can of worms that is Star Wars.
Oh, and did I talk to you about? I mean, totally. Since we're on a tangent, did I talk to you about seeing One Cut of the Dead?
Oh no, you sent me the text. Yes,
One Cut of the Dead is so fucking good.
Right?
You were dead on. When I started it with Kevin, I made him watch it because I actually played the section of the show where you talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we came to the end. No, we decided one night we're going to watch it. So we watched it, and we never watch movies. We always watch series. But that was like, all right, we're going to watch this show. And I had to go through the huge process of signing up for Shudder and getting it on my Samsung television and getting everything working. And I had to go through my Xbox One in order to do it. My Xbox One hadn't been started in like 6 months.
Oh, God, so I need to update.
Everything had to be updated. And then when I was on, I've since changed my Microsoft password, but I don't remember what the Microsoft password was. So then I had to rechange the Microsoft password again. It was at least 45 minutes of me futzing with the Xbox One to get it on the show. And then I had to sign up for Shudder, got that on. It took a while. Let's just say that. So we started the show, and Kevin sees it's in subtitles, and he's like, "Oh, it's in fucking subtitles?" And I'm like, "Dude, just work. Just give it a shot. Just give it a chance." At the end, he was like, "You know, there was every reason in the world for me to hate that show, And that was a really good movie. That was a really, really good movie. And stay through the credits.
high compliment.
The credits are even more fascinating, more interesting because the credits are. Well, did you say stay through the credits?
Yeah. Well, it's like because it's kind of like a found footage horror movie.
Yes.
And the credits in a lot of ways are like filming the film. And so it's like
don't wreck it for anybody.
I know, but it's part of the funny thing is like, you see something on screen and it's like, oh, that's what they did, and then you see how they did it.
It's the making of, right? It's how they did it.
It's the behind the scenes making of, and it's really interesting to see how they did some of that camera work.
Yes,
like how they professionally made things look unprofessional.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, ended up being there was an element of it that you said that was like touching and emotionally profound. And it was.
Yeah.
At the end, it's like, yes. And yeah, it takes you through a journey that you become emotionally invested in. I cannot recommend this movie high enough. One Cut of the Dead. It's worth getting the free trial for Shudder, putting it on your calendar that you've got to cancel Shudder if you don't want to do it. But it is worth absolutely the free trial. And it was well worth the 45 minutes of updating my Xbox One in order to do it. That being said, Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Fucking awful. I got through two.
Really?
I think we did either 2 or 3 episodes. After the first episode, I was like, I think I watched episode 1 or 2.
Like the best.
And no, they're not.
Oh, they're so good. They're
they're not.
They're so adventure-y.
No.
Like, things don't have that sense of adventure anymore.
Maybe it's because I'm a little bit of a science fiction purist, but I'm of the firm belief that if you want to do science fiction, you have to respect science fiction. You have to respect the science behind science fiction. I'm not saying that absolutely fucking everything has to, be scientifically accurate, but you've got to at least have a minimum of science. Especially when it would be just as easy to make it scientifically accurate as it would to make it not scientifically accurate.
So wait, what bothered you so much about that?
I was having a lot of problems up to it because it's like, yeah, that doesn't happen. But okay. All right. That doesn't happen. That's all right. Okay. They went through training and yet they're being stupid. All right. I'll suspend my disbelief. I was suspending a lot of disbelief all the way up, thinking, all right, they're just, okay, they can't progress the story unless the kids are fucktards. Fine. Okay. Got to do that. I don't know if this is a spoiler.
It's the first episode.
It's the first episode. When Penny is stuck in the snow and they're trying to get her out and they hear the storm coming and it starts to rain and somebody says, the temperature's dropping. I looked at Kevin. I'm like, no, the temperature doesn't drop when it rains on the snow. It gets warmer. What if it was gonna drop? Then it would be snow or sleet. And that was the moment when it was like, that was that little straw that completely broke me. And that was like, I cannot watch this.
AC Wraith has the perfect response. Edie
DeGrassi Tyson. Yes. I'm not a purist. I absolutely, you can keep me on board with come on. I'm not.
But yes, don't tell me the temperature is dropping when it's raining.
Don't tell me the temperature drops when it rains on snow. It would have been just as easy if you were half smart to have it snow or sleet. Just say sleet, not rain. Even sleet slightly warmer than snow. And that's universal. That's physics. That is not like, oh, well, maybe the snow wasn't water. They were drinking the snow, so it's got to be water.
I just like that that's what broke your back.
I couldn't. I got up and I threw something and then went to the bathroom.
The temperature doesn't drop.
Right. I stopped the show. I yelled. I threw something, went to the bathroom, and cooled off. I couldn't take it. So yeah. I stuck around for the second episode just to make sure, because so many people like you said that the first season's really good. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stick with it one more episode.
It's a fun adventure show that's just about watching people get put into danger and then getting out of danger. If you're the type of person that worries about the accuracy of temperature dropping of rain and the temperature
it wasn't
snow,
all of that.
It wasn't all of that.
That was a cumulative. That's what I'm talking about. It wasn't like that moment and I was like went from 0 to 60. No, it was a lot of like, well, this character's being incredibly stupid. Well, that character's being incredibly stupid. Well, didn't they cover like what you're supposed to do isn't Penny, didn't she score really high on her training? What did they train? They can run a fucking spaceship, but they don't know stay with the fucking spaceship when somebody gives you an order. It's like, it's the selective.
Have you
I'm
seen an
smart
adventure show?
and then I'm incredibly stupid. And
of course, they're not going to stay with the spaceship.
Right, because then
that's not what you do in an adventure. You put yourself into danger. You go out there. That's the entire point.
Yes, and that's okay.
It's not being stupid. It's part of that adventure of being like, I can handle this danger. Let's go out there, and then they handle the danger. That's the archetype.
Right, and I agree with you. That is why I stuck through all of those incredibly stupid, okay, that doesn't make any sense, but I'll go with it because they need it to propel the story. It won't be an adventure story if everybody does what they're supposed to do. Got it. That's cool. And that's why when it started to rain and they said this temperature is dropping, that was the moment when I'm like, they're literally not, they don't care. They just don't give a shit. They had a stupid person write a science fiction movie. And if that's fine, don't write a science fiction movie. Write literally anything else. Don't write a science fiction movie. You got to have, that's what I said, you got to have a respect for science in a science fiction movie. And that's where I had to draw the line. And by the end of episode 2, also absolutely no. I wanted every single person to die in a fire except the chicken. The only one I cared to survive was the chicken.
Well, the chicken does survive. I'll spoil that for
you.
Well,
good. The chicken should survive. But when everybody starts talking about how they're going to kill the chicken and have dinner, it would be like, no, you don't kill the chicken. Chickens are the ultimate survival animal. You keep them alive.
I don't think the chicken's contract was renewed for season 2 because I haven't seen him in season 2, but I know he's alive.
Okay, good.
They talk about the chicken. The chicken's always off screen. Whenever the chicken's not on screen, everyone is asking, "Where's the chicken?" AC Wraith has a thing. He says, "I tell where people stand on science movies if they watch Phantoms in 1998. Phantoms. It has a good scientific method in a world with facts that don't match our own."
See, that works.
And I'm on this IMDb page. That's not the Phantoms with Ben Affleck.
It can't be, because that's 98. I don't think he wasn't acting in 98, was he?
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck was like 2 in 98.
No, he wasn't. When was Good Will Hunting? Okay, no, this is Rose McGowan and Peter O'Toole. Okay, yeah, I don't know Phantoms. I don't know this Phantoms.
Good Will Hunting, 97. All right, so you're right. So yeah, it might have been. Anyway, yes. And there is the IMDb title, by the way, if you want it. He's got it linked on that comment. Bitter says, I hate shows that require dumb characters that should know better to advance the plot. Yes! Thank you. Exactly. And I'm willing to sit through them if they've got some kind of redeeming quality, but there was no redeeming quality. It was way overproduced. The music was horrible. It was trying to be a movie and it didn't do it well,
Yeah, Phantoms.
like cinematically. I like when they do all the things
Wait,
and
that
still
is the
get
same
beaten.
Phantoms.
I like when they do all the right things and still get beaten. Yes.
That is the Ben Affleck Phantoms.
AC
Huh.
Ray says, yeah, it's one with Ben Affleck.
Oh, okay. Maybe
Scroll
I'll have
down.
to
He's in
watch
it.
again. I have not seen that movie in fucking decades. All I remember is giant moths.
What's weird is that the main characters in the movie do more science than the scientists, and that's fine. I like that. See, I'll watch that.
I'll have to see the movie again.
Okay.
Anyways,
back to news.
back to Rockstar.
Tangents. We got some tangents. All right.
So one of the examples of how the culture is changing.
Yes.
Rewind. Jason Schreier wrote an article about how the company culture at Rockstar is changing. One of the places hit worst was Rockstar Lincoln in the UK. They did quality assurance testing, and in the original article, they said like, yeah, overtime is mandatory. We have to put our phones in a locker while we work, and all the windows are closed so people can't snoop. Since then, it's changed. All of the contractors have been made full-time staff.
Good.
Overtime is now optional and paid at a 1.5 times pay rate.
Yay.
People can now use their phones at their desks.
Good.
And overall, people have said that the company culture has just become more fun. That's a quote.
Good.
Quote.
And
so,
they're gonna get better work out of people. That's what it's gonna ultimately going to come back to them is they will get better production and more work out of people when they're treated well. You do not get top quality work from slaves.
So a lot of people at Rockstar North in Scotland and Rockstar San Diego and Rockstar New York have all been optimistic about the company changes, but they also temper all of that by saying, we're just starting on a new game.
Right.
We're not in that release crunch mode. So we'll see what it's like, in 6 years when GTA 6 comes out. But in the meantime, things feel a lot better.
Yeah. And it's going to pay back for them in their crunch time. That during working with staff of any kind, and this is a lesson for any of you who end up working at a company, the goodwill that you earn early on, when the staff understand that there is a crunch coming, the goodwill that you earn early and putting them on your team makes them work harder when the crunch comes. It's one thing when the crunch comes and they're not expecting it, but everybody here is a professional. Everybody knows that right before release there is the crunch. It's a thing. You don't get into video games if you don't want to do the crunch. So banking a lot of goodwill in the early times gives them the battery life to be able to make it through the crunch at the end. If you're beating them and they enter the crunch with a very low steam, very low morale, you're it's like trying to run a race with an empty gas tank. You want to fill that gas tank prior to running the race. And that's what they're going to be doing. Make sure that your staff is in as good a shape as possible, morale-wise, physically, mentally, family-wise, when that crunch comes, so they can make it to the end with as much steam and passion as they can possibly have under a crunch. So I think that assuming that they get a good story, I think that will end up paying them back in absolute droves. That they will get way more than the money that they're spending on this extra, friendly measures back out of those employees. And on top of it, I'm hoping that if someone was a researcher on workplace environments or occupational therapy or some kind of business management major or expert, would do a study on work productivity under the old Rockstar and work productivity under the new Rockstar, and comparing to see if my theories are correct. To see real, because when else are you ever going to have that? When you've literally changed an entire culture on something that is very, very measurable. That the product that they put out, it's got a score. That you've got staff that absolutely can be polled and researched, and that it returns back in cash and also in news, because it is a very newsy kind of industry. I hope someone actually runs a study on one of these local rock stars or multiple rock stars to do a, side-by-side comparison and repeatable to see if, multiple cases within Rockstar of how this culture shifts change and how it results in either money or productivity or both. Because you could do it before and after. You can compare Red Dead Redemption versus whatever their next game is. I'm assuming Grand Theft Auto.
So that's a good in-depth article that was written by Jason Schreier, who's known for that kind of thing. And he's also in the news.
Dude. Yeah.
He's also in the news because he's leaving Kotaku.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And where is he going?
He has not said where he's going yet. At least, let me check his Twitter to see if he has said anything. Not yet.
Where could he be going?
Literally anywhere. I know other people have left Kotaku that went to like Wired. I know
Wired. Wired or CNET, somewhere that actually had the payroll. Because obviously, if he's leaving Kotaku, he's going somewhere where he's going to get paid a lot more.
Not necessarily, because the Washington Post had an interview with him. Actually, did a profile about him, and he says specifically he's leaving Kotaku because of their owner, Geo Media. And if you know, the whole Gawker Media network of websites, which includes Kotaku, it included Gawker/Splinter before they went down. It includes like IO9, which is a sci-fi blog, AV Club, which is kind of like talks about TV and stuff.
Right.
All sorts of cultural sites. They were bought by this private equity firm called Geo Media. That ever since then has been running them into the ground and just destroying it. I don't know if you know the saga of Deadspin that happened last year, but Deadspin was the sports blog that was kind of the antithesis to ESPN. If ESPN is like the, we only talk about sports and only sports, stick to sports.
Right.
That's ESPN's motto. Deadspin was the antithesis of that. They just kind of talked about anything. And it was that freedom that kind of really appealed them to readers. So after there was some article, it was after Geo Media implemented like a new ads on the website that would autoplay, like noisy autoplaying ads. And people wrote articles that were like, yo, this is bullshit. There was actually an article on Kotaku that was like, hey, we've heard you complaining about this. We're sorry. Our corporate overlords forced this on us. We don't like it either. We think it's stupid. Please email them about this. So Deadspin did a lot of that too. And a lot of the people were like, no, don't do things like that. Stick to sports. And so then in response to that, a lot of people like wrote articles specifically not about sports. And then a lot of people were fired, and then more people left, to the point where Deadspin just kind of, it's still up, but it's not really up. Literally the entire staff left or were fired. And so, that's what Geo Media has been doing to this suite of websites ever since they bought it, is just implementing bad policies that are driving out literally everyone that, wants to go to the site.
Right.
So now, Jason Schreier, like as we've talked, sort of famous in the game industry for these hard-hitting, breaking news stories, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving, and it's because I don't feel like our bosses care about journalism."
Well, they don't. They don't, clearly.
Yeah. So it's a blow.
Whoever gets him, I mean, for example, he would not come to GameHounds. No matter how much he hated Geo.
No.
So it has to be someone of a big enough stature that it would be a move up for him, and it would. I wouldn't be surprised to see him at the Washington Post.
He could also just be like a contractor and sell news stories to people individually.
It'd
be harder, but
not right. And you don't want to do that.
He has enough of a stature.
Exactly. He's going to be picked up as an exclusive.
I'm sure.
Rather than a freelance. And freelance is where you start, not where you end.
He has said that he's going somewhere. We just don't know yet.
Right.
But,
so yeah, I would say either Wired, CNET. If the fact that something showed up on Washington Post about him, he might be going to Washington Post. I don't think he'd be going to Forbes. Forbes has really gone downhill. I used to respect them as far as their economic news and market news, and maybe they're still as good. But when their reporting on gaming has been really bad.
I feel like a lot of the reporting on gaming is like from
clickbaity.
The blog, yeah. There are certain people at Forbes I like. There's a movie box office guy at Forbes that I really, really like because he's like really smart about just that section of culture. But yeah, in terms of video games, it's like,
yeah, and I don't go there for gaming. That's what freelancers are. Is they kind of just regurgitate basic news, and then in their case, I noticed that their headlines are getting way, way, way more clickbaity and not substantive. And I don't think of Forbes as being a clickbait site. I think of Gawker like that or BuzzFeed, but I don't think of Forbes. It's diminished the name of Forbes, which generally means not, stories that have a lot of substance, that have taken a lot of time to put into it, that go into great depth. The Jason Schreier kind of story would be in Forbes when it comes to the economy or into markets. But yeah, so anyway.
In the chat, AC Wraith says that he's joining a Triple Click podcast with Cook Hamilton and Maddie Myers. And them three used to do a podcast on Kotaku, but obviously with him leaving, and I think Kirk and Maddie are still there. But with him leaving, they're not going to do that Kotaku podcast. So they're getting together to do another podcast. So that's not where he's making going his money career-wise. Yeah, no. That's an offshoot thing that he's doing with friends. It's a continuation of something else that they've already been doing.
It's the equivalent of GameHounds.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
We're not doing this to get rich. This is not our daily, bread and butter. You're still got your job. I've got my job. Goalie's got his job, and we do this for fun.
I'll have to subscribe to that because I'm curious.
So let's see. My first item,
biggest stuff that I had.
Yeah, my first item is let's see. This just came out in a time that I wasn't playing games, but do you remember Star Wars Episode 1 Racer game?
Yeah, the Pod Racer?
Pod Racer?
I had that game on N64.
Yep.
And I played a lot of it. And
it's coming to consoles on May 12th.
That'll be cool. That's neat.
Yeah. It's coming to the Switch and the PS4. And this comes courtesy of developers Aspire, or as I used to call them for years, Aspire. Aspire is responsible for the ports of Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast.
Wait, is that how you say it's spelled? Aspyr.
Aspire.
Oh, I was looking at thinking Asper.
No, it's Aspire, and it is
Aspire.
they have been around for decades and decades and decades because they were the ones that always did the ports of video games, like PC games, to Mac. Like all the big Mac games,
Ah,
they did the ports to that. So that's how I knew Aspire, because if Aspire hadn't done it, I couldn't play that game. So yeah, Aspire is doing they did Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast for the Switch and the PS4. They promise via the PlayStation blog that the resolution on the FVMs will be up-res to modern standards, and the control scheme has been remapped for consoles.
okay, that's good.
So yeah, if you were a fan of the 19, what is it? What year did it come
99, I
out?
think, because Phantom Menace came out in 99, so this is probably
Yeah.
99 or 2000.
Yeah, it was 99. Yeah, it was released in 99, and then it was ported to the Dreamcast in 2000, and then there was a sequel in 2002 for the PS2. But if you
Didn't
were
even
a
know
fan
that.
of the original pod racing games, and I'm kind of sorry Goalie isn't here because I know he liked that pod racer. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's coming on May 12th to the PS4 and to the Switch.
I remember playing the hell out of that game. I don't know if it holds up, and I don't
We'll find
know.
out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I don't know what the difference is between reality and my memories, right?
Hmm.
But I remember playing a lot of that and enjoying it.
So and this comes out of Forbes after I've given them a shit ton of shit. But I mean, it doesn't come out of Forbes. It means that Forbes had an article about it, and it kind of pointed it out to me. So you've noticed that the Switch is almost impossible to find.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason for that. And if you hate the hoarders of the TP that end up buying the TP and then trying to return it for money and getting a big middle finger from the stores, the Switch is what's happening to it. There are, of course, bots that are going in and buying them from professionals who are swooping in and buying all the Switches.
Hmm.
And that is why we have such a shortage. All of those people on eBay that are selling their Switches for $500 and $600, though, well, actually, I think that it's in the realm of 400 for a Switch that should cost what, 199, $200. That there's a reason they're the ones that are doing it. They have bots. We all know that, but there are actually Reddit threads where they are talking, the bot owners are talking among themselves about better techniques in order to swoop in and grab everything. So pretty much as soon as something comes available online, they're in, they're out, they're gone, and it's sold out. They are intentionally, according to reports of these Reddit threads, saying that they are creating an intentional shortage, with many of them holding hundreds and hundreds of these Switches. And that as fast as Nintendo is going to put them out, they're going to buy them up because they are hoping, they're expecting to create this shortage for as long as humanly possible so that the only place that you can buy them is on eBay.
Hmm.
So this is a vast and far-flung conspiracy to pump up artificially the prices of Switches. So
Yeah.
if you hate that guy that went out and bought up all of the hand sanitizer and disinfecting wipes and is now is being charged by the Attorney General for profiteering, that's exactly what these guys are doing. And
Yeah.
they started it the minute that everybody was stuck inside. Once there was millions of people that were left in the stay-at-home order, and they knew that Animal Crossings was coming out, they went in and bought all of the stock, and they've literally got it in warehouses, and they're not going to release it because they're not going to release it. So you will not see a glut, and they're going to they're already working on strategies to keep this shortage happening well into whenever everything opens back up, well into the summer. So if you have a Switch, great. But if you don't have a Switch, unless you are in a store when they
You might not
make
get
their
one for a
delivery,
while.
you're not going to be able to get one for a while. So that being said, the way to make these guys go away, do not buy a Switch. Don't buy a Switch. Don't buy them from eBay. Do not buy them from eBay, because every time that someone buys one of these jacked up Switches off of eBay, it encourages these fuckheads to do this. And trust me, if they're encouraged to do it, it's not the last time. This is way different than the Christmas spotting that, when they have a new console release. They're literally intending to create this and keep this embargo from the between the console developers and the console manufacturers and the public. They're intending to stay there as forever if they can. Way more organized than they ever have been before. Sorry, I've got.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. The real reason Nintendo Switch is out of stock everywhere. It's an interesting article. Unfortunately, it's out of Forbes, but yes, it's not sourced. This article should go into way more depth, but it doesn't. But I've read it.
I have a couple quick things.
Yeah.
One of them, and this is just kind of funny, not coincidence, but the developer of The Outer Worlds has hired the writer of The Outer Wilds.
I saw that.
Which is good, because Outer Wilds is such a fantastically written game.
I have to get
So this is only good things can come of this, and it's just good news for that writer. It's just, hey, you made something great and you got rewarded for it with a good job. So, hey, that's cool.
Yep. My next item is Epic Games Store free games. Their next free game is going to be April 23rd at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It is going to be For the King. You familiar with it?
I feel like I've heard that before.
It's kind of a mashup of genres, according to reports. I have not played it. It's a fast-paced turn-based battles like you'd see in a JRPG, but these battles are largely dictated by a 100-side die. Rolling the die to battle gives For the King a distinct tabletop feel. Adding to that identity is the roguelike, and I'm reading this out of GameSpot. Adding to the identity is the roguelike progression. No two runs are exactly the same, since the world and enemies are randomized. And the land is broken up into a hex map that you view from a top-down perspective, which gives For the King a tactics vibe as well. So, sounds like an interesting game. And it is free. This week's freebies are Just Cause 4 and Wheels of Aurelia. Next week's is going to be For the King. The Epic Game Store usually at the last minute adds another title to it, but the one that we know about next week is going to be For the King.
That's neat.
And flash deals.
Well, actually, I have other free news.
Yeah.
Sony has part of this. What do they call it?
The Play at Home.
Yeah, Play at Home initiative.
Yeah.
They're basically making 2 games free for the rest of April, through May 5th. You can download Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, and Journey.
I gotta get that.
Which, that's good timing, because Uncharted 4 is the free game for PSN this month. So
I gotta get
this month
the whole Nathan Drake collection.
Yeah, you can get all the Nathan Drake. The only one that's not included is the spin-off, which is also a very good Uncharted game. But 4 Uncharted games for free is a fantastic fucking deal.
Yeah. And cool. Other free games this week on Steam. The free-to-play weekend games is Absolver, Beat Hazard, Devolver Bootleg, Northgard, and Total War Warhammer 2. The free-to-own games are Gamecraft, Lost Daughter, Manual Samuel, which is a Steam key via Humble. Overcooked 2 DLC, too many cooks, and Overcooked DLC, Overcooked 2 DLC, Turf and Surf, Surf and Turf. So all those are all free through Steam and or Humble Key. And let's see. Also, there is a new game launching that is a fundraiser for the cause of anti-COVID. It's a company out of Brooklyn called Beat the Bomb, and they have a new web-based game called Fauci's Revenge, named after Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is the U.S. director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He has been a voice of reason in a very non-reasony federal government right now.
This could be either two extremes of games. This could be him taking revenge on the virus by saving the world, or him taking revenge on the world by destroying it.
Yeah.
Either of those seems perfectly suited to that name.
Let's see. Dr. Fauci is the leading expert in the U.S. on the current ordeal in the world is facing. Due to the experience and dedication on eradicating the virus from the world, it makes sense that the doctor is the face of the campaign.
Yeah. He's the perfect scientist to go mad and destroy the world with a virus. Like, he is
it doesn't really say what this game is.
Him Breaking Bad is a Bond villain.
Yeah, I would love to see that. The article doesn't really say what it is, but they're running a contest for it. Players can play and enter your scores as many times as you like, and the game is free to play. But and all proceeds of this are going to go, along with any proceeds from the limited edition T-shirt sales and gift cards, will also go to support the New York City's public health system. Players are encouraged to donate toward the charity at GoFundMe. So it's essentially everything about it is about raising money for the New York City public health system.
With all that, I'm going to assume he's probably not destroying the world.
No, probably not. Up until April 26th at midnight, players can enter their scores. And I'm assuming this is midnight Eastern time, since it is Brooklyn based and it's about donating to New York system. You can enter your scores from the end of the game. The top 10 players on the leaderboard at midnight on the 26th will win some prizes and qualify to compete in the final round, Fauci's Revenge, the final showdown live stream on April 30th. The top 2 will compete for the grand prize on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube live at 8 p.m. Eastern time on the 30th. So you play. The top 4 is in the morning of the 30th, and the final 2 on the evening of the 30th. So it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. The winner of this final showdown will win a brand new Oculus Quest VR headset. The runner-up will receive a $100 gift card from Amazon, and all top 10 players receiving a limited edition Fauci's Revenge T-shirt and 2 tickets for Beat the Bomb. What's Beat the Bomb?
It looks like it's like a musical.
It might
be a show.
Is it a show?
I'm at the website, and it says the Beat the Bomb experience is all about teamwork, communication, and coordinated action. No one exemplifies these values more than the community of doctors, nurses, and first responders. Yeah, it seems like they're like a musical group-esque thing, because it's the Beat the Bomb experience, right? So it's not just a musical group. It seems like it's a dance show music group thing.
Right. Here is Fauci's Revenge. Should I try and play it? I have no idea what it is. Oh, crap. Arrow keys to move. All right. Oh, God. No, this is not good for me because I don't have the keyboard.
Like a Space Invader?
It looks like it might. Touch good habits to gain health. Just eliminate viruses. Destroy bad habits to earn points. All right. So I've got not a good keyboard for this. Start game. And what was it? The equal sign? Oh God, I don't know if I can do this. All right. What was it to fire? Oh crap. I need to go back. What was it to fire? Nick?
I don't know.
Okay, I can't make it. I can't make it stop.
Click. Can you click? Are you playing?
I am. I mean, I've got it
Oh.
here, but I can't remember. Does anyone
Space,
remember how
enter,
to
click.
Z to
Z.
fire? Thank you. All right. No, Z is not firing.
Just hit literally every key.
Oh, wait a minute. There we
Oh,
go.
there you go.
Oh,
There
wait
you
a
go.
minute. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Z. My bad.
It's
I
like
had my.
Space Invaders.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Space Invaders.
Oh, okay. So once it blows up, that's when you gotta dodge. I see.
All right. So yeah, it's a very basic game, but if you want to, this is one of those games that you could see somebody playing for a really long time. Whoa, a really, really, really long time.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of not just mindful enough that you get into it.
Yeah, it's pretty slow.
Yeah, this is totally a Newgrounds Flash game.
Yeah.
But hey, with the proceeds,
Oh, shit.
its heart is in the right place.
So if you get hit, you just lose health and you gain it. Oh shit!
I mean, you gotta stop getting hit. Don't kill Fauci, Jesus. Oh, you can go forward? Oh, that's not good.
Oh, you can press X to dodge? Oh, I see. You actually can make yourself
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So you could do this.
What's your score? Wait, is your score 129,000?
Yeah. No, 13,000. Oh!
No, it looks like there's a 1 in front of that.
It's one. Oh shit. I killed my Fauci.
So yeah, AC Wraith says the high score is currently over 200,000, and you're shooting the power ups. So stop, don't shoot those. That's a power up. Get it. Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Nice dodge.
Okay, so yeah, that's this game, and it's nice because if you need to walk away. Oh. Okay, I'm in. I'm totally in. Ah.
That was pretty good.
Oh, you can't shoot when you're in a press conference.
You're shooting. Don't shoot the power up.
That isn't a power up. That's a bad habit.
Is it?
Yes.
What's the yoga?
The Yoda. See, green.
Oh, so for the
green
listeners,
is good. Red ones are bad.
For the listeners, the Trump press conference is basically his face appears over your guy and you can't shoot.
Right.
So, and it seems like that starts to happen randomly as you get into the higher levels.
That's freaking awesome. So yeah, I highly recommend Beat the Virus. It's for a good cause. It's pretty funny.
Anyways.
So yeah, that's my the it's gonna be a big winner. I'll be happy to watch. That's gonna be a really long final show at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably watch it on the 30th. Why not?
Yeah.
Nothing else to do. I'm stuck inside. So
okay. And just a couple other, I have a couple quick bits and then an interesting one.
All right.
Quickly, Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare, the remake, has cross-play with PC. With console and PC players.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, there's a lot of cheating going on the PC. And so a lot of the console players are turning off the cross-play feature in order to avoid those cheaters.
Oh, makes sense.
So that's just an unfortunate side effect of having this feature everyone has asked for is now like, oh shit, maybe there's a reason
Maybe it's not a great idea.
we don't want to play with them. Um, Activision, what's it? Infinity Ward has said that they've issued over 70,000 bans for cheating, and they're continuing it. But yeah, cheating
AC
problem.
Wraith says Beat the Bomb is an immersive video game experience, sort of like an escape room, but 1,000 times better. Ooh. We might have to go to New York for that one, Nick.
Okay,
That sounds cool.
interesting.
Okay, so what's the other quick one?
So another quick one that this is mainly for me. So as you know, I mentioned the Zero Escape games before, the nonary games.
Right.
I have been recommended, because I like those, a game series called Danganronpa, which is very similar, kind of about high schoolers putting a fellow on trial for murder, basically. And it's similar kind of visual novel escape room type game.
What's it called?
Danganronpa. Danganronpa. Never mind. Danganronpa. Danganronpa. And I've seen these on PS4 always going on sale, but I've never picked one up. Well, now it's announced that the anniversary editions for the 3 games are going to come to smartphones, which I'm looking forward to because that's actually where I first played the Zero Escape games. I played it as a visual novel on my phone, and I got so into it that I bought it on the console. So I think this is really cool because the phone is kind of a good medium for visual novels, since, you know, you can take it with you wherever, and it's very easy to just read a little bit like you would read a book. So yeah, I think this is really cool. And personally, this is like what I've been waiting for. I don't have an exact date for it, but hey, this is cool.
Looks interesting.
Yeah, Danganronpa. And then in the bigger news, there was a report coming out of Bloomberg that because Sony is sort of struggling with the price and availability of the PS5 components, but they have no plans to not release it at the end of this year. Instead, what Sony is thinking about doing is limiting how much they sell this year. So basically, in short, they're looking to produce about 5 to 6 million units for this window release, whereas before the PS4 sold about 7.5 million in its first 6 months.
So it's going to be Bot City. It's the bots are already ready. Yeah, believe me, they're already ready, and they're going to start. Yeah. Oh.
And so yeah, Sony's if
pre-order.
Instead of pushing it back, they're just going to limit the number of sold, basically, is how they're going to deal with this.
It's going to essentially be like it was for the PS2.
Mm-hmm. And I'm interested if Microsoft is facing the same situation, because I've heard multiple things like this from Sony, but nothing out of Microsoft. I wonder if they just have a better lid on their internal thing, or because they're fucking computers. They use the same parts, which means they're facing the same issues.
Yes.
So
Microsoft's just not talking about it, or there's, no leaks. But if whatever's happening to PlayStation is happening to Microsoft, and probably worse, because remember, Sony has a much better relationship in China and in those manufacturing centers simply because they're in Asia.
And excuse me. Soon, Bloomberg has said that they're eyeing a 500 to 550 price tag, which 500 I understand. I've always thought that these consoles will be 500. That just makes sense. Going above that is getting dangerously close to the PS3 territory.
Right. 500 is really the top tier you can go. I mean,
Bloomberg has said
even $499 would be better than 500. That 5 at the beginning, where some people are thinking this is $1,000. And considering, especially by the end of the year, the world, and we're not just talking about the United States, certainly in the United States, but the world is not going to be recovered from the economic downturn that this has caused.
Yeah. Not the
And
time to put out a hugely expensive luxury item.
and also consider this, that whatever is happening now in the spring is going to get better as our temperatures go up, because that's the nature of these kind of viruses. Trump was sort of right when he says it goes away when summer. Yeah, it goes away in the summer. It's going to come back in the winter. And by Christmas time, whatever is residual within the world of coronavirus is going to come back for a second round. Now, if we don't have vaccines and or treatments by then, which is likely, we may have treatments by then, but we may not have vaccines, it's going to be an issue, and we're going to have another round of this pandemic. So what you're seeing now, you're probably going to see again in November, October, starting in October, hitting November, probably in the thick of it in December and January. We're going to be in this again when it gets cold. So this is going to be a double dip, and they're set to release right now in the teeth of the second dip. And it's going to be particularly bad because if you think about what this coronavirus would have been if it would have happened over Black Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Over Christmas holiday shopping season, because you're not going to be able to get people to stay inside and not buy presents for Christmas. And that's what's going to happen, is this second round is going to hit, and it's going to be right at Christmas.
About the PS5, and this is something I heard on the Giant Bombcast that they actually made a really good point on. Even if Sony puts it out now, Microsoft, this goes for Microsoft too.
Right.
Even if they put the console out, the games aren't being made.
Yeah.
So even if the new consoles come out, there's going to be a shortage of new games for them.
Yep.
Which kind of not tangentially, but like really behooves them to get any sort of backwards compatibility working, because that's extra necessary in this case. Because if there aren't new, next gen games, and you want to sell a next gen console, the best way to do that is to make sure the next gen console plays previous games.
Right.
Because otherwise the prospect of buying it just goes down the drain.
Well, that's what happened with the PlayStation 3. It released and there were no games for the PlayStation 3, and everybody jumped over.
But that's only exacerbated now, because not only would I not be, if these aren't backwards compatible, which all reports say that they are.
Yes.
But if they're not, and then developers aren't making new games because of the coronavirus and things just aren't ready, you literally have nothing. So.
And I think that's also going to be an issue with both of the consoles.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The things, that's what's kind of interesting about this particular year of console release is that, there has always been things that we have known about what makes a successful console release and what doesn't, because we've had both over the years with consoles. The challenges and the obstacles to overcome this year are entirely different. That new factors have come into play and new obstacles to overcome. So it's not just like PlayStation 3 where it's like, well, you didn't have the games to support it, and that hurt you. Now it's like you might not be able to get the stuff to support it. And it might be universal. Just because it's not a decision that's being made at the top. It is a factor of environmental circumstances that is across the entire industry. It's not just you. It's not something literally that you might be able to control or that anybody might be able to control. So this is going to be one of those things that I think someone will write a book about, is the particular oddity of the console releases in 2020. It's going to be unlike anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Whole new challenges that were never considered. and everybody's kind of making it up as they go along. So, God, I was like, let's do a short show today. And here we are, 2 hours in. Well done.
Yeah.
And I think not a bad show, friend, even without Goalie. I mean, I miss him.
Oh, yeah.
We did all right.
I think we did good.
All I just needed to do is lose my shit over Lost in Space.
The temperature doesn't drop.
The temperature doesn't drop when it rains!
How many people really care? Really?
That rain can't be below freezing. It can't be 0. Yeah, like they're like,
actually,
don't take off your helmet because we don't know if this atmosphere is safe to breathe. And it's like, well, you've got a tear in your suit, so that kind of tells me it was. It's like, oh, okay, well, that made sense. And then, like 10 seconds later, there's Will Robinson melting snow into what looks like snow into a bottle, and Dad just taking it and taking a slug.
Yeah, it's snow. That's fine. It's safe.
Well, obviously, if it's oxygen, then of course that's going to be H2O.
Are you saying it could be another frozen? It could be frozen nitrogen.
It could be frozen nitrogen. It probably couldn't be frozen nitrogen, given that it wasn't, the ambient temperature wasn't anything. But you have no idea what was in that snow. What pollutants? What anything? It could be have been full. That snow could have been full of arsenic. And yet it's like, oh my God, the atmosphere, it might be poisonous.
And see, I get where you're coming from, and I enjoy that type of sci-fi, but that's not the type of sci-fi Lost in Space is going for.
No. You mean science fiction? No. It's going for fiction, space fiction,
and
sort
actually,
of. Not even space.
This is a good segue. This is a perfect segue. Speaking of science fiction, I wrote a sci-fi story.
Oh, that's right.
And it is going to be published in Utopia Science Fiction magazine. That's coming out on April 30th. And so if you just go to utopiasciencefiction.com, you can get it there. I will say the website it's very old.
Yeah, it's
from
very,
the 90s.
Very web 1.0.
Very 90s. Very like GeoCities early internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get it there. I think you can get it as an ebook, or I know you can get an actual magazine. I think you can get an ebook. But yes. So that'll be out April 30th.
So are you actually going to be on the cover of these things, or it says featuring?
I should be on the featuring thing because I think so. They actually sent out a newsletter. Like I got an April newsletter, and my story was like hey, here's a sneak peek of a story in our thing, and mine was the one they chose. So I should be there. I think so.
Nice.
It's an incredibly short story. It's like a page. But yeah. So
good for you.
It's only $5 for the magazine. So yeah.
Excellent. I am very proud of you.
Thank you. I am too.
All right. So look for that. And that's going to be which month?
April 30th is when it comes out.
So it's probably the May issue. So yeah.
No, it's the April issue.
It's the April issue, and it looks like it's $4.95 for these. So yeah, $5. I will absolutely sport you $5, dude, and pick it up.
Cool.
And that website is utopiasciencefiction.com. And I think, here we go. There it is. Cool. Congratulations, dude.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess that's the end of our show. Might as well wrap this up. Unless we want to have another science fiction wrap. I can do another science fiction wrap.
What another
fucking why I hate Lost fucking in space.
What sci-fi things have I seen recently?
No. We're already 2 hours in, dude. I gotta have breakfast. I'm
What sci-fi
hungry.
things have I
I'm
seen?
hungry, and I'm out of coffee. I'm out of coffee, dude. So I gotta go and get
If
something
you
to
know, Amazon like has this, not initiative, but they have like a Amazon original short stories that are usually grouped by theme. And I don't know if it's still on sale, but they had a bunch of them on sale, and one of them was a sci-fi theme called Forward, and it had a bunch of like genuinely good authors, and they're like 5 different short stories, and I've read 3 of them so far, and they're pretty good. But I got them all for like $3.
Cool.
And so yeah, a group of those. So I would recommend that. Just the Forward collection on Amazon.
Got that right, AC. What about the fucking microbes?
You can't worry about the microbes when one of your teammates is frozen in a lake. It's not the type of thing. You can't worry about microbes.
Absolutely worry about the microbes.
When the forest is on fire, you can't worry about microbes. You can't worry about
literally
microbes.
burrow into your
falling
brain
from the sky like lasers.
Oh my God. I mean, you could poison yourself. You could give yourself a microbe that would eat your brain from the inside and turn you into a zombie. Hey.
Microbes
there's
are
an
not
idea.
Microbes are not an exciting adventure disaster. You gotta have things
It's a
breaking.
fiction movie. They shouldn't even really call it Lost in Space. Seriously. They shouldn't even call it Lost in Space.
Why?
Because it's...
The original
they
wasn't
should have just
the original
said
wasn't any more rigorous with its science.
True, but also
if you're gonna get into accuracy,
no, that's true. That's right. Either they needed to go into schlock, just remake Lost in Space, and just stick with that. And
no one cares about schlock anymore.
Like, for example, I don't hold the rubber suits against Doctor Who, because Doctor Who never pretended it was anything more than rubber suits. But Lost in Space is trying to be like science fiction fantasy, and it's not.
They're trying to be rip-roaring family adventure.
Will Robinson is sitting like 20 feet off the ground above a roaring forest fire, and he's not sweating, and his lungs aren't burning. He's not even sweating. He's not even sweating.
Well, you know what you have to do is don't sweat the small stuff.
It's not small. Here, the thing is you do sweat the small stuff, because if they had sweat the small stuff, I wouldn't have held the big stuff against them. How hard would it have been to make them sweat? How hard would it have been for them to say, oh my God, it's starting to snow, instead of starting to rain?
Because the point of that scene was that the hole that they dug was filling up, and so they couldn't do it. And you can't do that with snow. That's the point of it.
Right, but the hole that they dug, the hole they dug filling up would be a good thing, because that water was above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That would have actually helped them. It would have created more slush, and it would have got them. It was actually helping them to fill that up with water.
I don't think so.
Yes.
Because see, that's the point. You're looking at it like, in that regard, the science betrays the momentum of the disaster, because, you know, you've reached someone, you've dug that hole. The point is you want that hole to fill up again and reverse all of the progress that they made. That's the point of that scene. That's one of those moments where science gets in the way of plot, so just fuck the science, because you don't need it.
He wasn't even sweating. He's over a forest fire when you know that the ambient temperature above a forest fire is somewhere in the 200 to 210 degree range. And it was bad enough that things were landing in it and just frying. A, the tree didn't burn. B, he wasn't even sweating. How hard would it have been? Spray bottle, water with glycerin. Hey, you're sweating. Done.
Also, I don't think that robot could repair itself like that.
Well, I mean, that's where the science fiction of that's where the fiction comes into the science fiction that I'm completely okay with. The things that we know that are universal, like fire at is 210. Water boils at 210 degrees. And we know that it was water because he drank it. Anyway, we should go. I could literally
You want to talk more about water and fire?
For hours. I could literally riff on this for hours.
I'm sure you could.
These are the things I get.
I just find this entertaining.
I know, and this is the stuff that drives Kevin nuts. It makes it very hard for me to watch television. By the way, Killing
because
Eve,
this is completely beyond the point. Like,
thank you
beyond the point
for convincing me to. Not you, but I forget who it was in the Facebook. It was Andre. I can't remember who in Facebook. That convinced me to watch Killing Eve. Such a good show.
That's on my list. I want to see that.
It's really, 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 really good.
Which also I did check out, and apparently Phantoms is on Hulu, so I'll have to check that out too. It's been a while since I saw that.
Corey Wallace says, "Danger, Will Robinson." Edie's on another tangent. Danger. So let's go. I gotta eat. I'm starting to get cranky.
Starting.
All right. So let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds episode 541. We recorded this on April 19th, 2020. I've been Edie Sellers, Edie DeGrasse Tyson, and with me has been Nick.
Yeah.
I'll accept anything if it's on my screen. To Nicola.
There are certain genres that you just roll with it. If I was watching like a more hard science fiction, then yeah, I would be worried about that. But Lost in Space is not a hard science fiction. It's a science fiction adventure. It's about the momentum and disasters.
If you want to
scale disasters.
If you want to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email.
From the sky, the ground opening up and eating you.
We record this show live on Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. That's speaker with an R, Spreaker.com. Please join us in the chat room. We actually had Ryan Stevenson, dude. Hi. In the chat room on Spreaker, and also you can see us on YouTube under GameHounds Vids. That's VIDS as in videos. We record at the same time live. You can watch us do this and give each other middle fingers the whole time. Also on Facebook, The GameHounds, THE GameHounds. We would love to have you. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. Facebook page, I already mentioned it. Please follow it. Subscribe to it on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to us on YouTube. We actually need to get our YouTube numbers up. We would love to have that. So be a subscriber and let other people know about the show. Word of mouth, people. It helps. Thank you to everyone who is our Patreons. We do appreciate it. Our Patreon is patreon.com/gamehounds. Please become a Patreon sponsor. It helps us pay for things when our money runs out. Nick, I will talk to you next week. Everyone in the chat room, thank you so much. And we'll be back then. Talk to you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
I'm going to go watch Volcano. And I'm going to enjoy the fact that there's a volcano in the middle of fucking LA because it's a good movie.
Shut up!
I can go watch Dante's Peak. I can go watch San Andreas and watch San Francisco fall into the ocean. I'm going to watch 2012.
Okay. So anyway, don't get off the show after I shut off the YouTube feed. The YouTube feed's still going. Don't shut off the show because I want to talk to you about Grandpa's Hidden Chest. By the way, if anybody has not been listening to Grandpa's Hidden Chest, please do so. Grandpa'sHiddenChest.com. It's also on Spreaker. You can look it up as Grandpa's Hidden Chest.
Well, says he picked up an RPG I was playing a while ago. Oh, Greedfall.
Is Lambo Calrissian in the show, dude? Oh.
I didn't see him in there.
What about Greedfall, dude? Greedfall's good.
Corey picked it up.
Yeah, Greedfall. It's good. I mean, it's not great. It's not perfect. There's better, but given that we've played all the better already, yeah, it's a good B game. It's definitely an A game, but the ending is a gigantic kick in the balls. If you put any amount of time into it, the end is enough to make me mad that I bought it. But the gameplay up until that ending is really good. So as long as you're not expecting a
just don't beat it.
Satisfying payoff. Yeah.
Well, you said it was all text, and I'm okay with that. I've
Yeah,
played
it was all
games like
text
that.
and it was fine, and I actually enjoyed it. It was actually, the text was really good. The gameplay
Fallout
was really good. I
Fallout 3 ended like that.
totally enjoyed the game. And then I got to the end, and this gigantic payoff that I was expecting was a huge disappointment. There was no emotional payoff whatsoever. It was a game that, when you're done, you realize that your involvement with this game, where you made a ton of decisions that altered the way that the game played, that your existence in that world made no difference, or it's like the way you played the game made zero difference in how it ended. I mean, it does, but not in any appreciable way.
Hmm.
It undoes absolutely everything that you just did. Yeah.
Anyways,
If you want something to put you over until ESO drops, this is a good one to do. The first battle when you get out of the tutorial session, the first battle in order to actually launch into the real meat of the game is a fucking hard fight. Don't just slide that thing down to easy. Seriously. That first fight is the hardest fight in all of it, because you have none of the weapons and none of the abilities that you need to fight this thing, and you are fighting a boss monster for all intents and purposes. So yeah. Everything else after that, totally fucking easy. Not to say totally easy, but I mean, it's challenging. But it's good. It's good. So yeah, everybody on the YouTube chat, thank you so much for joining us. I don't see anything from Lambo, so I hope he's okay. Because I know that he had the COVID, and I hope he's recovering and that he's okay. So hey, Lambo, if you are listening to this after the fact, please contact me. You can contact me directly. Send me a message on Facebook. Edie Sellers on Facebook. Send me a direct message and let me know you're okay. Because I'm concerned that I don't see you today. And I know you're stuck inside and quarantined, so I know you have nothing better to do than be here. So yeah, and Barbara, thank you for being in here. Eric Baker, hey, Chaos, I gotta play with you sometime soon. AC Wraith, of course, our link bitch, thank you so much. Corey and everybody else, if I didn't see your name. Bitters, obviously you're in the thing. Forget Your Life, Abacab, thank you for being here, and we'll talk to you. I guess I should take So yeah. So thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for being in the chat room. It does keep us going. And we will talk to you next week, everybody. Bye.